My name's Father Darren Balkey. I've been ordained for 1 year so far as a priest. Raised going to Mass every Sunday, They had adoration at our parish where I grew up. I served at Mass and pretty much just being a normal kid in a faithful Catholic family. Certainly serving Mass, got some little murmurs going with that. It didn't really sort of dig in until I was at Belmont Abbey for college, which is also what brought me to the Charlotte area. Because I started seeing men whose lives were just permeated by prayer. It gave me some really tangible people that I could look at, and that's where religious vocations in general, and even more specifically priesthood, could sort of, start to resonate for me. A big thing for a priest is that first year of ministry. You're getting your feet under you, and you're not just learning how to take care of people as a priest, the skills and the craft, but you're getting to know yourself in a new way because you're shepherding full time. You're doing what a priest does, and people sort of make a snap assessment of, oh, the priest is here and now we're ready, and they dive right into their lives. And that makes you reflect a little bit as well on the inside. So I definitely notice now, having that first year just under my belt, I've sort of reached some balance in how do I take care of all the different things that are going on for a priest, but how do I look out at the world and what opportunities are there now that I can draw close to? Knowing that I can't tackle it all, like that's a first base is, can you realize that Jesus came to save the world and you're not going to do it, right? So get the savior complex out of your head and enjoy it. So I try to be really attentive to just what's my schedule and have my stuff down pat. So then when I come in, I can just sort of absorb things around me and make sense of it, because there's so many good things going on. You could easily lose track of one group or another. And so instead of trying to be everywhere at the same time, just being present where I am, I think is the big goal right now.
There's this rumor going around that you're going to leave us to go into the Navy.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I'm in what's called, the Navy calls it the Chaplain Candidate Program. And that's a way for people who are preparing for ordained ministry, regardless of their faith, and then also gaining experience, as I am now in my early priesthood, to prepare to be active duty chaplains for the Navy. So that's what the Navy calls it. On the church side of things, I'm in a collaborative agreement between the Diocese of Charlotte and the Archdiocese for the Military Services. And they both contributed towards my seminary preparations with the idea that I would serve 3 years in parish work and whatever things we have here in the diocese, and then I would go to the Navy for 5 years of active duty chaplaincy. So the Department of Defense has their whole application process. So I entered the Navy commissioning as an officer like anyone else would. My job, according to the Navy, is to be a student of being a good priest. That's essentially how my job description is written. And then with the Archdiocese for the Military Services, they have their own paperwork process. And really all of this sort of came out of, a sense, because people will ask me, why the military, what grabbed you? And I think all through high school I thought, maybe I'll join this military branch, or isn't this a cool program, or maybe I should enlist. But it was very vast. I'm a teenager and that's the entire military, and I didn't have anyone in my immediate or even extended family serving at the time. So I couldn't just walk onto a base and know what that was like. And so I had this desire to serve that was there, and more I came to realize that I wanted to get serving God figured out. And so in college I was much more like, how's my prayer? What's God asking me to do? And that started to evolve more and more towards considering priesthood. But I could never get sort of the natural human idea of I learned the Pledge of Allegiance when I was a kid. I raised the flag when I was a Boy Scout. I just have those things are in there. And so that patriotism always sort of presented itself as, well, is there a way you can do both? I thrive on routine. Like I'm a routines guy, and when you see me at Mass, that's like my favorite routine. You know, like recipes are cool and sports are cool, but like going to Mass is like the routine of routines. And that doesn't mean that it's boring and flat, right? It shifts with the day, different readings bring things in. I like changing colors for the season. I like those things. And seeing how different things come into our celebration of the Mass, whether that's people preparing an RCIA, First Communions, confirmations, all of these. And so for me, like that's being in the center of the drama. And so in a certain sense, if I come across as a very calm demeanor, it's because I'm like in full sponge mode. I'm trying to take in all of this that's happening around me, because it's everything that's visible and the invisible that fills that up from inside. And it's a phenomenal experience. There's no way for me to tell someone what it's like to consecrate the Eucharist. I mean, you can see that I take it deliberately. You can see that I'm very, studious about what I'm doing. But when you realize, this is for the sake of these people here, right? For these souls, that I've been sent here to do this for them, right? That sense of purpose built into such a sacred routine, that's a deeply peaceful place for me, because it's not just the military sense of duty. It's like in the highest duty that there is, going before God and saying thank you. I'm in this very specific place to do that, and that's staggering.